Hello and welcome to the Nintendo Network, and I think it is time for me to talk about Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. I stayed quiet about the game, for the most part. The last few Pokemon outings, Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, left a bad taste in my mouth personally. I really do not like the generations mostly due to the storytelling aspect and how Ultra felt like it was just more ideas they wanted to do in the originals but didn't, and they wasted a lot of potential with Team Rainbow Rocket. I have a video talking about that, so watch it to know more, but for the sake of the video, you get the idea. Since Let's Go's reveal, there has been a divide in the fan base. Although the divide is not necessarily right down the middle, there were many facets of the game that is causing conflictions on Pokemon fans. Some love every aspect of the game, some hate that Pokemon Go is integrated, some love the visual looks of the game, some hate it. The list go on, and really it seems to have caused some of the most heated debates of any main series Pokemon game. And yes, I would count this as such, much like Platinum, Black and White 2, and Heart Gold, Soul Silver are considered main series games as well. But it seems if you find something that you don't like in Let's Go, you find something else that gives you affinity towards it. For a long time, many people stated that they would not be getting the game, that skipping it would be best. I don't think people stood by that, as in the US alone, Let's Go had sold over 1.5 million copies so far. The game hasn't even been out a month, and this is a statistic before the end of Christmas, so it will be interesting to see the number after the new year. But a lot of people saw many friends online playing it on November 16th when it was released. But what I mainly want to do is go over the highs and lows of Let's Go, because really it has both, and I think both need to be discussed fairly to talk about the game. First off, probably one of the most discussed points about the game, the catching mechanic. It's a modified version of the catching mechanic from Pokemon Go, where you don't battle wild Pokemon, legendary and special Pokemon aside. You run into them and must throw a Pokeball of your choosing and hope for the best. It's not all luck-based though. Different Pokeballs have different effects, that's nothing new, but like in Pokemon Go, there are berries that can help you with capturing. Then there is a circle that shrinks around the wild Pokemon. If you get the Pokeball in the circle at different sizes, the smallest being the best one, the capture becomes a little bit more likely. For this, there is quite a bit to go through. First off, in case you were living under a rock and didn't know, if you are playing Let's Go in the docked mode, you have to use a single Joy-Con in one hand. The idea is to give you the ability to feel like you're throwing a Pokeball, hence the Pokeball Plus, which I won't be talking about as I didn't get one. But hindering a player's choice of control scheme like this is just frustrating and baffling in 2018. Even ARMS, a game all about using the punches you do and curving them and all that, has the ability to change controller schemes as you see fit. What is more baffling, if you go from dock to handheld mode, you use both sides of the Joy-Cons, and catching is just using the gyroscope on the Switch or even control sticks and hitting A to throw the Pokeball. So they program the ability to use the controller properly without the motion control and not use the throwing mechanic in handheld, but it's limited only to handheld. This is just head scratching, people. I can see maybe restricting it to single Joy-Con play with co-op, but not single player. This might be one of the lowest lows of the game. Giving players the choice and options make it a much better experience. With ARMS, I do mostly play Pro Controller, but there are times I go to motion control because it's a lot of fun. On the topic of wild Pokemon, the encounters have been changed. For the first time in the series, you see the wild Pokemon in the overworld screen. This takes away the random encounters, and you can choose if you want to capture them or even attempt to avoid. This is game changing and something I truly hope comes back when Generation 8 comes out in 2019. Random encounters worked back in the late 90s, and something I am happy is gone. This has also introduced catch combos, allowing you to focus on one species of Pokemon and catch many of them, giving you XP boost and upping the chance of getting a shiny variant. This alone has been pretty huge for the game post-launch, as many live streams of the game are all about shiny hunting. Difficulty is another thing you've seen discussed online. Well, yeah, you have a Super Saiyan God Pikachu and Super Saiyan Blue Eevee on your team, for God's sakes. These two, especially Eevee, are godlike Pokemon with the special move they obtain. I was plowing through everything with my Eevee early on after I got the water, fire, and electric moves from Cerulean City, but you have to remember something with this game. I don't want to call it kids' first Pokemon game, but it's kind of designed that way. Like it or not, this game is meant to draw in the Go casual crowd, and making it a bit handholdy and even easy in a way to introduce new players into the game and make them want to continue to buy more console Pokemon games. It can feel a little pandering at times, I won't lie. On the flip side of that, what is one of the most popular things people do with streaming and Let's Plays for Pokemon games online? Nuzlocke and self-imposed challenges. put the god Eevee away if it's too easy. You can still have it adorably on your head, but use other Pokemon. Do a Nuzlocke. Or heck, just not using Pikachu or Eevee could give you a challenge. Walking into the game, we knew it was meant for a more casual demographic, so why are people surprised? My only surprise is Eevee never went Ultra Instinct. Of course, mine never got to level 100, so who knows. The legendary encounters got a lot better in Let's Go. Each of the 3 legendary birds and Mewtwo were treated with much more gravitas than in earlier iterations. These, along with small amount of cutscenes like the Marowak and Pokemon Tower, help the storytelling. Visual storytelling with a mute protagonist is very important, and they really stepped up the game here in Let's Go. I hope this is a trend that continues for Gen 8, and they use that to tell the story much better. It's a good alternative from the exposition-heavy Sun and Moon. One last low I think that needs to be touched upon is the post-game. Well, the lack thereof. If you had not gathered the legendary birds during the main campaign, you can capture them, and of course Mewtwo. That's nothing new. And you can go to the gyms and face more powerful versions of the gym leaders' teams. But then there's the Master Trainers, and that's really it. And technically that is a pretty meaty post-game if you go for every Master title, but think about it. In past Pokemon titles, you become the champion of the league, and now you have this super team of Pokemon to go do challenges. The Battle Frontier, as an example. But really, each of those Pokemon can only help you with one Master title, and you have to train more. Well, that's fine, but now you also have to train the basic form and the second form of the 3-stage evolution lines because each Pokemon has a Master Trainer. The reward is being called the Charmeleon Master, and that's about it. This seems really like padding for the sake of padding. The task seems daunting and tedious, and I truly tip my hat to anyone who masters every title. The only way for this to work out better, in my opinion, would be to say you become a Master Trainer of the family of Pokemon. So you approach the Alakazam family Master Trainer. You can choose to battle with an Abra, Kadabra, or an Alakazam, and get the titles for all 3 once you defeat the Master Trainer with any of them. It seems more doable and not as overwhelming, that's for sure. Even though Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee has their lows, in the end I think the game turned out much better than most people expected. I mean, going by the amount of units sold, that is a given. But I think the end product itself ended better than anyone expected. I know I was a huge naysayer to begin with, but came around to it and was pleasantly surprised with what I found when I started my journey once again in Kanto. I just hope we can finally stop using Kanto as a nostalgic cash cow and look towards Generation 8 of Pokemon with our hopes held high and our souls filled with excitement for a brand new Pokemon journey in 2019. Thank you for joining me here at the Nintendo Network. What do you like best about Let's Go, and what do you think is the worst aspect of it? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this, make sure to join the network and subscribe to us right here on YouTube. Now, if you excuse me, next week is Christmas, so Merry Christmas to everyone who watches and supports my channel. I really can't express how much that means to me. I will have a video next Wednesday going over my thoughts and predictions for Nintendo in 2019. Happy holidays.